The difference between the man who builds an empire and the man who spends his life in quiet frustration is not talent. It is not luck. It is not the family he was born into. The difference, my friend, is mental engineering. And in a few minutes, you will understand in your soul exactly how you can use this power to your advantage and change your life for the better. Every great achievement, every fortune amassed, every legacy carved into history began not with money, not with connections, but with a decision in the privacy of a man's own mind. The decision to take command of his thoughts, to forge belief where the world offered only doubt, and to assume the identity of the man he intended to become long before the evidence appeared. Understand this truth. The world you see around you is not the true battlefield. The true battlefield lies behind your eyes, in the chambers of your own mind. If you win there, no force on earth can stop you. If you lose there, no wealth, no title, no opportunity will ever save you. Pause and imagine this with me. You wake tomorrow and walk into the world unfazed. No fear of failure. No hesitation when opportunity arises. No doubt when challenges block your path. The opinions of others slide off you like water on stone. Setbacks appear, yet you move through them calmly, like a general surveying a battlefield he already knows he will win. This is not fantasy, this is a practice, a science, a discipline. And if you master it, success will not be something you chase, it will be something you command. Look to the titans of history. Henry Ford declared he would build a car for the common man while critics laughed in his face. Thomas Edison endured over 10,000 failures before he brought light into the homes of millions. Andrew Carnegie began life in poverty, yet engineered the mindset that made him one of the wealthiest men in America. They were not given an easy path. The world threw storms at them, just as it throws storms at you. But while others crumbled, they stood unmovable, not because of what they possessed, but because of who they decided to be. Your mind does not care whether you feed it victory or defeat. It will accept whatever you impress upon it and build your reality around it. If you constantly whisper hesitation, it will build a life of hesitation. If you constantly rehearse doubt, it will build a life of doubt. But if you dare to assume success, if you speak victory as though it were already yours, your mind will bend reality to make it so. The question is not whether you have the ability. The question is whether you will seize the controls of your own mind and engineer the destiny you desire. The cost of delay is staggering. Every day you hesitate, you strengthen the chains of your old identity. Every moment you question yourself, you give away ground on the battlefield of life. The world does not reward the hesitant. It rewards the man who assumes command. So I ask you directly, will you remain a passenger in your own mind, surrendering to doubt and hesitation? Or will you rise as countless titans before you have risen and declare that from this moment forward you will command your destiny with the certainty of a king ascending his throne? The greatest wars in history were not fought with armies. They were fought in silence, inside the mind of a single man who refused to surrender to fear. The world has lied to you. It told you your enemy was the competition. It told you your setbacks came from bad luck. It told you the system was against you. But listen carefully. None of these are the real enemy. The real enemy sits within your own skull. Your battlefield is not the office, not the bank account, not the crowded marketplace. It is the 6 inches of space between your ears. If you win there, you win everywhere. If you lose there, you lose everywhere. Doubt, fear, hesitation, these are not feelings. They are enemy soldiers. Every time you entertain them, they advance further, setting fire to your purpose, cutting down your ambition. Most men surrender without even realizing it. They wake up already defeated, whispering to themselves, "I'm not ready, I'm not enough, I'll try tomorrow." But you are here because you sense the truth. You sense that your mind has been running you instead of you running it, and you are ready to seize command. Henry Ford was told, "The horse is here to stay. The automobile is only a novelty." But he declared, "I will build a car for the great multitude," and he reshaped the world. Abraham Lincoln faced loss after loss, yet he believed his destiny was greater than his defeats, and he became the president who preserved a nation. Thomas Edison endured 10,000 failures, yet each one was not defeat but intelligence gained. And because he refused to surrender, he gave light to the world. Their advantage was not resources. It was control of the battlefield. From this day forward, you must see every doubt, every fear, every hesitation as enemy soldiers. Do not reason with them. Do not let them linger. Confront them. Replace them with disciplined thoughts, because if you allow even one to stay, it will call for reinforcements, and soon your entire mind is under siege. The battlefield can be won. And when you win, your life will transform so quickly others will call it magic. But knowing your battlefield is not enough. You must also burn the bridges that tie you to your old identity. There comes a moment in every man's life when he must decide, will I keep one foot in the world of excuses and safety, or will I burn the bridge behind me and march forward with no path of retreat? As long as you leave yourself the option of going back, you will always go back. As long as you say, if this doesn't work, I can always return, you have already planned your surrender. The titans of history understood this. Success requires burning the bridge to your past self. Hernan Cortez ordered his ships burned so his men could not retreat. Victory became their only option. So it is with your life. If you keep your ships in the harbor, if you cling to safety, you are already defeated. You must declare, there is no going back. I will become the man I am destined to be. Rockefeller was not born with riches. He built an empire from the ground up while critics scoffed. He chose an identity before the world gave him proof. And because he chose that identity, his actions aligned with it. He became the man he declared himself to be. Identity comes before evidence. You do not wait for proof. You decide first. You burn the bridge to your old self, and the world eventually bends to your decision. Most men cling to the ashes of their old lives. They wear the labels of not enough, too late, too inexperienced, and so they remain trapped. You cannot build a palace while living in the ruins of your excuses. You cannot claim the crown while bowing to the ghost of your past failures. If you desire to be unstoppable, burn every bridge that ties you to hesitation. Cut off excuses. Refuse to retreat. Say, I am now the man who commands his destiny. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. The universe responds to conviction. Opportunities appear where none existed. People sense the certainty in your eyes. Doubt loses its grip. But burning bridges is not comfortable. It is terrifying. The familiar world will call you back. Voices will urge you to play it safe. But safety is the slowest form of death. Comfort is the silent assassin of greatness. Do you want to be safe, or do you want to be free? The bridge is behind you. The match is in your hand. Will you light it? And once you do, you will need something else to carry you forward. That force is faith, not wishful thinking, not blind hope, but faith forged daily, as sharp and unbreakable as steel. Most men hear the word faith and think of something fragile, something soft, something left to chance. They imagine faith as a feeling, a fleeting hope that maybe things will work out. That is not faith. That is weakness. Real faith, the kind that builds empires and turns ordinary men into legends, is not fragile. It is forged, engineered, sharpened daily until it becomes unbreakable. Faith is not an emotion. It is a discipline. It is not something you feel when conditions are perfect. It is something you practice when conditions are against you. Thomas Edison faced over 10,000 failures. Do you think he felt confident every time the light bulb refused to glow? Of course not. But he had engineered faith so strong, failure could not destroy him. This is the difference between men who quit and men who win. The winners do not wait to feel faith. They build it through repetition. Faith begins with a decision. You declare who you are, even if the evidence is not yet there. I am a leader. I am wealthy. I am unstoppable. And then you back that declaration with daily action. You visualize yourself as the man you have declared to be. You rehearse the identity until it feels natural. You speak it over and over until your subconscious accepts it as truth. And once your subconscious accepts it, reality has no choice but to follow. This is not blind optimism. This is mental engineering. It is deliberate, it is precise, it is daily training of your most powerful force, for your mind. Andrew Carnegie said his empire was built first in thought and only afterward in steel. His fortune was the product of a cultivated belief in his destiny, reinforced daily until it became undeniable. So ask yourself, when life throws you a setback, what is your first response? Do you crumble and say, why me? Or do you stand firm and say, this changes nothing. I remain who I decided to be. If your identity depends on circumstances, you have no faith. Real faith is proven when the evidence is against you and you stand unmoved. Abraham Lincoln suffered defeat after defeat, but he declared, my cause is greater than my pain. That is not emotion, that is discipline. And here is the paradox. When you stop waiting to feel faith and instead practice it as a discipline, the feelings eventually come. Confidence rises. Certainty grows. Others begin to sense your unshakable presence. But you cannot wait for that day to act. You must act first. Every morning, step into the armor of faith, even if your heart trembles. Say, "Today, I walk as the man I have declared myself to be," and then live it. This is how titans are forged, not through comfort, not through easy victories, but through daily acts of engineered faith. Faith without structure is weak. That is why the greats built routines. They treated the first hours of the day as sacred. They sharpened the blade of faith before stepping onto the battlefield. And that is where we go next. Your morning warfare routine. The empire begins in the morning. Before the world even opens its eyes, the man destined for greatness has already armed himself for battle. The average man rolls over, checks his phone, scrolls through noise, and lets the chaos of the world set the tone for his day. And then he wonders why he feels scattered, distracted, and powerless. He has surrendered the battlefield before even leaving his bed. But the man who wins treats his mornings as sacred. He enters each day as a warrior stepping into combat. He sharpens his weapon, his mind. He fortifies his armor, his faith. He steps onto the field prepared, not reactive. This is the morning warfare routine, and if you practice it daily, you will be unstoppable. The first step is to command your first thought. The instant you wake, your mind is at its most impressionable. In those first moments, you either take control of the battlefield or you allow fear and distraction to invade. Do not reach for your phone. Do not scroll through other people's lives. Instead, declare, "I am the architect of my destiny. Today I conquer." You may not feel like it. That does not matter. Say it anyway. Speak it with conviction, because your subconscious listens whether you believe the words or not. And when you repeat it daily, your mind will begin to obey. The first thought of your morning is the foundation of your day. Lay it with purpose. The second step is the power of stillness. Before the world demands your attention, demand silence for yourself. Sit in stillness for a few minutes. Breathe. Visualize the man you are becoming. See him clearly. How he stands, how he speaks, how he acts. Picture the version of yourself who is already wealthy, disciplined, unshakable, and don't just see him, step into him. Feel what it's like to already be him. Let your mind rehearse the identity until it feels familiar. Visualization is not fantasy. It is training. It is the rehearsal that makes victory inevitable. The third step is to sharpen with words. Once your vision is clear, speak affirmations out loud. Not weak, half-hearted wishes, but powerful declarations. Say, "I am disciplined. I am wealthy. I am unstoppable. No obstacle can defeat me." Do not mumble them. Say them like a general addressing his army. Say them until your chest vibrates with conviction. Your subconscious does not argue. It accepts repeated commands as truth, so command it daily, and soon your actions will rise to match your words. The fourth step is to move the body, to sharpen the blade. Faith without discipline weakens, and discipline begins with the body. Every morning, move, exercise, sweat. Prove to yourself that you can command your flesh as well as your mind. When you push through resistance physically, your subconscious learns that you are a man who overcomes resistance in every area of life. The fifth step is to set the battle plan. A general does not march into war without a plan. Neither should you. Each morning, decide the top 3 victories you will achieve that day. Not 10, not 20. 3. Too many goals scatter your energy. 3 keeps you sharp, focused, and unstoppable. Ask yourself, what are the 3 moves I can make today that will bring me closer to my destiny? Write them, commit to them, execute them. The final step is to arm yourself against resistance. Do not be naive. The enemy will come, doubt will attack, fear will whisper, distractions will ambush you. So, before you step into the world, prepare for resistance. Remind yourself, the storm is coming, and I am ready. The man who expects the attack is never caught off guard. While others panic, he remains calm, because he rehearsed the battle before it began. When you practice the morning warfare routine daily, something changes in you. Your eyes sharpen, your stride becomes steady. People notice the calm authority you carry. They may not understand why, but they feel it. And because you control your mornings, you begin to control your life. Most men drift through their days like leaves in the wind, at the mercy of every distraction, every setback, every insult, but not you. You will rise each morning like a commander stepping onto the battlefield, armored with faith, sharpened with discipline, armed with a clear plan. And when life throws its storms, you will not bend. You will not break. You will stand unshakable because you prepared for war before the first shot was fired. Now you are ready for the next lesson. how to turn every setback, every failure, every rejection into the fuel that propels you forward. Because while most men are destroyed by defeat, you will learn to transform it into strategy. Most men treat setbacks as the end, a failure, a rejection, a defeat, and in that moment they surrender. They say, maybe this wasn't meant for me. They drown in frustration, losing days, weeks, even years lamenting over what went wrong. But you must understand the truth. A setback is not the end. It is intelligence, it is data, it is the raw material from which strategy is built. The average man sees failure as proof that he should quit. The extraordinary man sees failure as proof that he is moving. And movement, even when imperfect, is progress. Consider Abraham Lincoln. He lost election after election. He was mocked, doubted, and humiliated. Yet he never surrendered his cause. Each defeat sharpened his strategy. Each loss hardened his resolve. And in the end, he became the president who preserved a nation in its darkest hour. Or look at Thomas Edison. 10,000 failed experiments, 10,000 opportunities to quit. But he understood that every so-called failure was simply one step closer to victory. He said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That is not optimism. That is mastery. That is the mindset of a man who refuses to be broken. So when a setback strikes you, pause. Do not react with despair. Do not drown in emotion. Step back. Observe it like a strategist. Ask yourself, what lesson is hidden in this moment? What adjustment must I make? How can this blow make me stronger? Because the truth is this, life is not testing your ability to avoid defeat. It is testing your ability to rise after it. The men who achieve greatness are not those who never stumble. They are those who learn to rise every single time they fall. Think of the strongest men you admire. They are not defined by a life free of mistakes. They are defined by their refusal to stay down. Each defeat became a stepping stone. Each rejection carved out more resilience. Do not waste your energy asking why it happened. Ask instead, how will I use this? Every time you refuse to collapse, you build a fortress inside your mind. Every time you rise again, you prove to yourself that you cannot be broken. Most men are destroyed by setbacks because they believe the lie that failure defines them. But listen carefully. Failure does not define you. Your response does. So the next time defeat comes, and it will, remember this moment. Do not curse it. Do not fear it. Use it. Because every setback is fuel for the man who knows how to turn pain into power. And once you master this, you will no longer fear failure. You will welcome it. Because you will know that each defeat is nothing more than a disguised step toward victory. In a world obsessed with noise, silence is power. Most men cannot handle silence. They rush to fill it. They explain themselves. They defend. They justify. They talk until their words expose their weakness. But the man who masters silence controls the room. He listens while others reveal themselves. He observes what others miss. He holds his power, and when he finally speaks, every word carries weight. Understand this truth. Words reveal, silence conceals, and the one who conceals always has the advantage. Think of a negotiation. The other man makes an offer. He expects an immediate response, but you pause. You let silence hang heavy in the air. The longer you wait, the more unsettled he becomes. He fills the silence with more words, better terms, greater concessions, because silence creates tension, and tension creates leverage. Or imagine someone insults you. They expect anger. They expect defense. They expect retaliation. But you give them nothing. You stay calm. You remain silent. And suddenly, the power shifts. They begin to wonder, did their words land? Do you even care? They are left unsettled, while you walk away untouched. This is the power of controlled silence. It is not weakness. It is strategy. It is the art of refusing to hand over your energy to meaningless battles. The man who can remain silent when provoked, when challenged, when baited, is the man who owns himself. And a man who owns himself cannot be controlled. Look at the titans of history. They were not the loudest in the room. They were the ones who chose their words with precision. They wasted no energy on meaningless chatter. And when they spoke, the world listened. So practice silence. The next time someone provokes you, pause. Say nothing. Observe. Let them reveal themselves while you reveal nothing. The less you say, the more people lean in. The less you speak, the more control you hold. Remember this, silence is not empty. It is filled with power, and the man who controls silence controls the game. No man becomes unstoppable alone. Even the greatest minds in history surrounded themselves with strength, with wisdom, with fire. You will rise to the level of the men around you. If you walk with cowards, you will learn to flinch. If you walk with doubters, you will learn to second-guess yourself. If you walk with men who chase comfort, you will slowly forget what it means to chase greatness. But if you walk with titans, you begin to think like one. Andrew Carnegie called it the mastermind, a deliberate gathering of minds working in harmony toward a shared mission. He credited this principle as one of the core reasons for his rise from poverty to the pinnacle of American industry. He did not surround himself with yes men. He surrounded himself with warriors, builders, thinkers, disciplinarians, because he knew this. Your environment is not neutral. It either strengthens your mission or weakens it. There is no in-between. Look at the people around you. Do they hold you accountable, or do they pull you back to mediocrity? Do they fan your fire, or do they quietly hope you fail so they feel better about not trying? This is the hard truth. Most people are comfortable with who you used to be, and the moment you try to rise, they will remind you of who you were, not to help you, but to keep you within reach. That is why you must build your own network of titans, men who speak of purpose, not gossip, men who discuss vision, not distraction, men who challenge you to be sharper, stronger, more disciplined. If you do not have those men in your circle, go find them, and if you cannot find them, become one, and the right men will find you. Comfort is the silent killer of greatness. The mind will always choose ease. It will always reach for what feels good now at the expense of what builds power later. Most men surrender to comfort. They press snooze instead of rising, they scroll instead of studying, they talk instead of building, and then they wonder why their dreams remain dreams. But the man who chooses discipline over comfort becomes unstoppable. He does not act because he feels like it. He acts because he decided. Charles Schwab built his empire not on perfect conditions, but on relentless discipline. He worked when others slept. He planned when others drifted. He executed when others hesitated. Discipline is not about talent. It is about consistency. It is about doing what must be done long after the mood to do it has passed. The average man looks for motivation. The disciplined man builds habits. Motivation fades. Habits endure. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you carve a new identity into your soul. You prove to yourself, I am a man who follows through. I am a man who cannot be swayed. With each act of discipline, your strength compounds, your will hardens, your faith deepens. Do not mistake this path for easy. It is not easy, but it is freedom, because the man who controls himself cannot be controlled by anyone else. Comfort feels safe, but safety is a cage. And the longer you sit inside it, the more you forget what freedom even feels like. So you must make a choice each day, ease or excellence, comfort or destiny. Both demand a price. Comfort will cost you your future. Discipline will cost you your excuses. Which price will you pay? The greatest secret of the Titans is this. They wore the crown in their minds long before the world placed it on their heads. They did not wait for proof. They did not wait for applause. They decided who they were and lived as that man until reality had no choice but to catch up. Henry Ford was not yet a giant of industry when he declared he would build a car for the common man. He was laughed at, mocked, dismissed, but he walked, spoke, and worked as the man who had already achieved it, and the world eventually bent to his will. Andrew Carnegie did not start with steel in his hands. He started with belief in his heart. He assumed a throne in his mind, and the throne in reality had no choice but to appear. This is the law of identity. You do not become successful and then act like a king. You act like a king, and then you become successful. Most men wait. They say, when I get the promotion, I will carry myself with confidence. When I make the money, I will start thinking like a wealthy man. When I am respected, I will act like a leader. But by waiting, they remain trapped, because the world will never give them what they have not first claimed. You must claim it first. You must wear the crown now. Even if the world laughs, even if no one believes, even if your bank account says otherwise. When you walk, walk as the man you are becoming. When you speak, speak as the man you have already become. When you act, act as though the throne is already yours. This is not arrogance. It is certainty. It is faith in action. It is the unshakable conviction that your identity shapes your destiny. The world cannot resist a man who has already assumed a throne in his mind. People will begin to treat you differently. Opportunities will appear. Doors will open. Not because luck has changed, but because you have changed. So I ask you now, who are you? Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Are you still the man waiting for proof? Or are you the man who has already claimed the crown? Because once you assume the throne, your reality will rise to meet you. It must. That is the law. Now you see the path, the battlefield of the mind, the burning of bridges, the daily discipline of faith, the morning warfare routine, the transformation of setbacks into strategy, the weapon of controlled silence, the circle of titans, the triumph of discipline over comfort, and the law of assuming the throne. These are not ideas to admire. They are commands to execute. The future will not wait for you. It belongs to the man who dares to seize it. So I ask you one final question. Will you keep waiting, hoping, dreaming? Or will you rise today, burn the bridges to your old self, assume the throne in your mind, and command the life you were born to live? The world does not need another man who plays it safe. It needs you. Unshakable, disciplined, unstoppable. The crown is already yours. The throne is waiting. The only thing left is for you to take it. Your destiny begins now. Claim it, live it, own it. And when you do, you will discover that the future bends to the man who dares to command it.